Yeah, my Aquarius friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2025 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Aquarius, I'm referring to Aquarius rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Aquarius sun and Aquarius moon, but the house structure will not be the same. So you'll want to go to one of the free birth calculators and just plug in your exact time and location of birth, and you'll be able to determine what your rising sign is. When I talk about a time and a day, I'm referring to the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. The month, two other things before I start. I made yearly videos for each rising sign, and I put chapters by the month. So please go check that. There's even further detail. I do a weekly Sunday show where we go over the week ahead's transits. So these monthlies are another sort of overview where I pull out the highlights I think are the most important for the month. And February is extremely important because it's teeing up eclipse season. The second thing I want to announce is, from 4 to 6 p.m. on tomorrow, Wednesday, Pacific time, I will be doing specific tarot card readings for you, where you can put your question in the chat and we'll take people in the order that the questions are received. And those that give to donate through Super Chat or through Super Thanks will move to the head of the class. So we've done that a couple times and it's been pretty fun. So we're going to try to make that a weekly thing, but I haven't committed to it yet because I commit to a lot and I only have so many hours in the day. All right, let's talk about February. So the highlights. Jupiter will go direct in Gemini. Gemini is your fifth house Aquarius, and Mars will go direct in Cancer, your sixth house of work. We will see a full moon on the 12th at 5:53 a.m. The sun will be conjunct Mercury. I think this is going to be very significant. It's at 24 degrees of Leo. So this is going to be very much focused in on some sort of illumination about your wants and your desires and your self-expression. On this 27th of the month, we will have a new moon at 4:44 a.m. at 9 degrees of Pisces. This new moon will be part of a stellium of planets that have been growing in Pisces throughout the month and is very, very powerful. That Piscean energy is going to come through very strong. So let's pull up the chart and take a peek. All right, so here we start, today's the 4th. The first few days of the month, I've been filming the previous signs and trying to catch up. But Venus started the month at 28 degrees conjunct the North Node and Neptune. And now she has moved to the very, very powerful 0 degrees of Aries. While she's considered in detriment in Aries, again, Aries is your third house of thought, of communications, of your interactions with others, your workmates, your teammates, your neighborhood, your roadways. When you're driving down the street, that Aries energy is your third house. So here we're seeing Venus at the most powerful degree of co-creation, where literally that 0 degree is the soul birthing into the physical experience. It's almost, imagine jumping into a cold pool, because I always feel like the soul comes into such a dense experience and then it has to remember the self before as it goes through the zodiac. So this is going to be very powerful. She's going to move all the way to 10 degrees station and then retrograde at the beginning of March. So she's going to be having quite a lot to think about. And this is where I think that the detriment is not quite as strong as maybe it's been in past eras, because the feminine is very much embraced in this modern times. And we as females and feminine energies can make our own money, create our own homes and our own sense of safety and security and luxury. So I think this is really about individual thought and being brave and allowing my Aquarian nature to flourish and evolve and grow through my bravery and my courage versus being spawned by frustration and or anger. Jupiter has gone direct in Gemini. Gemini, again, is your fifth house of, it's the performer, the house of fun, the house of entertainment, the house of your high school years and being, experiencing love and romance for the first time. Having a Gemini first house is very fun, fifth house is very fun, very light, very curious, want to experience many different things. Jupiter has been transiting through this house. It is now gone direct. It will stay at 11 degrees for almost the whole month before it moves even 1 degree. This is the master number of thought. And while on this particular day, it is making a good aspect to Mercury over here in your first house, overall, I think the big task here is for Jupiter to allow the expansiveness of its nature to slow down enough to think about implementing into the material world. Pacing is a good word, I think, that fits that. Jupiter pacing itself, because when Jupiter moves into your sixth house of Cancer, it will be exalted and really offer you an opportunity to take your talents and your preferences and the things that you find enjoyable and birth them into the material in a way that could bring resources to you. I think that having a 10th house Scorpio energy is really very powerful. And with Pluto transiting your first house, I think this transformation of self could be supported by the energies as Jupiter in June moves into your sixth house. You could find that Pluto's entry into your first house is really birthing a more authentic version of you. And then Mars will eventually move into your seventh house, requiring you to be slightly more brave in how you're viewing your partnerships, not just intimate, but professional, and how there's the flow of how it is necessary for my Aquarians to feel a sense of that seventh house Leo energy. Again, that plays back to Leo being your natural fifth house, being the natural fifth house, but yours being Gemini. You've got a talent, you've got a lot of curiosities. You might be very funny. You could be, really quick-witted too. And now implementing those energies into the physical. Mars and Chiron are in a pretty intense square. Here we see again that Cancer energy is your work energy, and the Aries energy is being your third house. You may find that you've been experiencing some challenges within the work environment. There could be, I almost feel like with Aquarius, there could be some potential both outright disagreements or people that aren't on the same page. But if there has been disruption in the workplace over people thinking differently, then this is an opportunity for you to move again into something that's much more authentic, or start to prepare for that shift in your work. Because again, when Jupiter moves into your sixth house, you have a great opportunity for expansion within the workplace by coming from something that's focused from your moon energy. Meaning that which makes you emotionally excited. That's what I think that sixth house Cancer represents. We also see, and this is going to go on all month long, they'll be Mars will move back to 17 degrees, and then Mars will move forward. So it's actually going to take us into March as well, but for the sake of this video, all month long. Now we see that Mars is also making a favorable aspect in the form of a trine to Saturn. And I think this is kind of a little bit where we're looking at, again, this is your second house of your skills. This is where this stellium is going to, the summit of planets is going to convene in your second house. You're going to be so, I want to say either compelled, inspired, or pushed into looking at how you are coming from the truth of your soul. Aquarius is so futuristic, so inventive, so genius, that this stellium is requiring you to connect with a deeper part of yourself and then birth that baby, literally birth that baby. We will see, we move to the 10th, Saturn is going to bring up opportunities to build something strong there, because that's what Saturn's been trying to do since 2023. Anyway, okay, now we see here on the 10th that Mercury is making an exact square to Uranus. And this is, we've already been feeling this square, but here I really think that there is this sort of a little bit of worry about how the ego expression of the sun and then the community that represent Mercury could inadvertently be exasperating your natal ruling planet. I also think that this could inadvertently, because Taurus is your fourth house, if you tell your genius new ideas to some people in your home, they may inadvertently poo-poo it or throw water on it. Jerry Hicks always says, if you have a great idea, don't tell anybody. Because it's not about them stealing the idea, it's about them dampening your energy or putting some sort of wrench in or cog in the wheel. So be mindful of that, be aware of that. I don't really feel as if it's you yourself. To me, it feels more like that mercurial energy is coming outside of you as it's transiting through your house of self. On the 14th, Mercury will enter Pisces, and on the 18th, the Sun will enter Pisces. Then we get to the 24th, and this is where we start to see it starts really, we start feeling the momentum. Now we see that Mars is moved direct. Mars is very excited about getting out of Cancer and is looking forward to the heat of the Leo energy, Leo being your seventh house. But right now, while it's still having a bit of a challenging conversation with Chiron, now we're feeling a bit of harmony as Mercury has come into an almost exact conjunction with Saturn. This will happen on the 25th. But this to me is where my thoughts and my history are starting to work and potentially inspire me. I really believe that Pisces is the house where the bad, sad love songs live, when your heart's been broken and then you transform it into something beautiful that others share. Because there could be a lot of loss inside the Pisces energy. It's where we see addiction and escapism. But here, with this favorable aspect, I feel like this is offering my Aquarians an opportunity to build. And frankly, Saturn is your co-ruling planet as well. So building from your history, building from where what you've traditionally thought. There's this just opportunity that feels so strong to me. It's an awareness, it's not necessarily coming from outside you, but rather inside you. Everything about Pisces feels like it comes from the inside out for me. Now we see them exact. And I think, again, I've done a lot of videos today. So if for some reason I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But I really think that when planets are within a 0 to 3-degree orb, they're very, very influential. We get to 4 or 5, you can still feel it, but it's lessening. And then we get over 5, it's like background noise in a room for me personally. So here, while Saturn and Mercury are, exact at the Capricorn degree, I feel like I'm really thinking about structure. I'm really thinking about how I'm going to implement this. How will I fit it into my everyday life? And I think that what Mars is supporting at this moment is that Leo degree of just follow your heart and kind of allow it to unfold versus trying too hard to push. That's the way I kind of want to put that. It's the way it feels to me. Now we also see that Venus is now stationed at 10 degrees. And I feel like all these Capricorn degrees, I've got the Capricorn degree of Venus at 10 degrees. We've got the Capricorn 20th degree here. Wait a minute. The 20th degree is a Scorpio degree. Silly me. I made a mistake in a previous video. Oh, well. These things happen. That could be even more the psychological imprint that sits beneath everything. Yeah, I messed up. Okay, but I forgive myself. Thank you for listening. This is the Scorpio degree. This really does play now as I look at it to some sort of psychological imprint that you become aware of. Very interesting. Okay. All right, let's move on. Now that I found that I made a mistake in a previous video, I've distracted myself a bit. All right, let's go now to the 28th. I love being fabulously flawed. It really helps. Self-forgiveness. Look at that stellium in your second and third house. You know, I mean, because I say third house because we're seeing Chiron and Venus, but Venus is going to retrograde, and then all these planets are going to move into your third house in March when eclipse season starts. So the revelations, the musings, the things that you discover about your talents and your skills and your willingness to spend some time in that sort of communal conversation with your soul could very much birth something revolutionary for you. And that's where I think that Uranus's energy comes in so strongly in your fourth house, liberating you from something, maybe even bringing you into a whole new, like when you think of the fourth house, it's where you live, it's where you rest, where you eat, where you feel a sense of safety and security. And while your ruling planet has been disrupting anything or revolutionizing anything that wasn't working, I feel like it then brings in a sense of security. It's almost like Uranus is a roller coaster. And at first it's jarring and it can make you feel sick and you get off and you want to throw up. And then you're like, that was fun. I want to do it again. And that's what I think Uranus has been doing. And as it makes these sextiles over here to, where's my cursor? To Mercury. And, you know, I just feel like this is genius thoughts, new things coming through, opening my world up a little bit and offering me an opportunity to release myself from the imprint or release myself from the imprint never goes away. You know, the however you were raised, you know, there's always going to be that background, but you can superimpose your version of it on the background. I hope that made sense. I got a little distracted there. All right, everybody, I'm going to stop my share now. For my courses, I really want to say that this transit of Pluto in your first house is really, in many ways, oftentimes the community will be afraid of that kind of transit. But to me, when we see the stellium growing in your second house, it's going to capitalize on what Pluto wants to offer you as the phoenix rising, right? I also want to say this because traditionally, Aquarius can feel like the exiled one, you know, the one that's isolated. And I believe that your energy and your forward thinking and even literal space and science and technology are going to give greater life to your futuristic genius. And you're coming into your own here. So this February energy is really teeing up energies that are going to become more and more palatable as we move into the deeper months of 2025, when the outer planets move into more fire and air and things start to accelerate. It's going to play to you in a more favorable way than it might have been feeling up until now. All right, that's it for me, for Teri Hunter. I hope you can join me tomorrow. If not, be back for your March video. And I will still be fabulously flawed in March. So we'll see you then. Bye.